I'm going to show you how to make ham and pineapple pizza for this recipe. First I'm going to do the base. For that 480 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil or any other kind of oil, and 2 teaspoons of yeast with 2 tablespoons of water, and a teaspoon of salt, and nearly 1 cup of water. So what I'm going to do is to do the base. I'm going to mix all these ingredients together, but when you do the yeast, you have to do it a little bit earlier and check whether the yeast is activating before you do this recipe. I added the flour and the yeast into the mixing bowl, so I'm going to mix it with water and the salt. When I mix the bread dough or any other kind of a dough, I normally mix the flour and the yeast first and then the water, and I'm adding salt after, because when you add salt onto the yeast, it kills the yeast and it won't happen. So always add yeast into a corner, salt onto a corner without directly adding it onto the yeast. After mixing the dough, I'm going to leave this in a warm place about 40 minutes until this doubles in size. While the pizza dough is in a warm place, I'm going to do the tomato sauce for the pizza base. For that I'm using 1 can of diced tomatoes with a teaspoon of garlic and 1 onion, oregano and some basil leaves. I'm using all dried ones. You can use the fresh herbs instead. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of oil. Fry all these ingredients and put the diced tomatoes and make a smooth, nice paste for the pizza base. To balance the acidity of the tomatoes, you can add a teaspoon of sugar and salt into the pizza sauce. The pizza dough is ready and it's double in size, and I already prepped the pineapple. I'm using 1 can of pineapple. I drained and cut it into nice pizza cuts, and I have some ham already shredded and 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. And the other thing is you can use, when you are doing a pizza stone or either a tray. Today I'm going to use the tray, but the pizza stone is really nice in the oven or in the on the barbecue. So I'm going to spray the pizza tray, or you can use oil instead of spraying. After, I'm going to divide this into 2 equal parts because this is enough for 2 bases. So take 1 part out and stretch this on the bench top and put it onto the tray, or you can use a rolling pin to do. If it is sticky, add a little bit of flour to both sides. Once you have stretched, or use a rolling pin to stretch the dough, use your tray that you are going to use and leave it on that and see whether the enough dough is there. Take it onto your hand and put it on the tray and stretch it to the corners. This pizza recipe works for 2 pizzas. So first I'm going to do this pineapple one and I'll show you. First what I want to do is to add a little bit of olive oil on top of the base. Then it gives the base a little extra crispiness. So add a little bit of olive oil, drizzle, don't put too much, and then use your fingers and just put that all over, and onto that the tomato paste that I have already made. I'm going to put that onto the top of the pizza and spread it all over. When you do this pizza, there are 2 ways you can do it quickly: to buy the pizza base from the shop and to buy the pizza sauce from the shop too. But I'm showing you the correct way of doing it, but you can have shortcuts always if you are busy. So add the pineapple onto the top of the tomato. Because this recipe is for 2 pizza bases, you can make another base and leave it in the fridge and do another kind of pizza later, or you can do two, bake at once and leave it in the fridge for kids to heat it up. Now I'm going to add the ham. You can add anything other than this if you like to, but this is enough. So cover it nicely, and now onto the top I'm going to spread the mozzarella. I'm using a low fat version. You can use cheddar instead of mozzarella too. So I'm going to bake this 200 centigrades about 15 to 20 minutes until the base is crispy and the cheese is golden brown. The pizza is ready. So I baked until it's nice and crispy golden brown, and the base is golden brown too. So I cut one piece to show you how it looks like. You can use a pizza cutter or a scissor to do this. So this is a really nice way of doing a pizza, and I hope you will enjoy this recipe. Thank you for watching.